So yesterday I got to generating some of the meshes and exporting them, and I showed a little script to do that. What I've got today is I've written another script here, which is a command line tool that will take a directory full of files of one format and export them in another format. At the moment I've just got it to the level where it will read OBJ, FBX or USD and export them as some other version. So this is using Maya Standalone. So you'll notice here I'm using environment env Maya py. Maya py is just an alias, and when I run Maya py here, you see that it's running the version of Maya Python. So if I were to do which Maya py, you'll see that it's the version of Maya Python that comes with the version of Maya I'm using. So this allows us to basically run Maya commands and various other things like that without having to fire up Maya, which is very useful in pipeline development and things like that. So the first thing we need to do is we need to import this module called Maya Standalone. And Maya Standalone is just what it says, Maya running standalone. It allows us to execute Maya Python commands in a script. So I'm importing that module there. What I've got next is a series of argparse stuff. So basically, I've got name equals main here. So if we're running this command and option, I'm creating an argparse parser here. I've got a few options. So input, which is going to be the input file format, output, which is the output file format, and then a directory, which will default to the current directory, or we can pass another one in the command line. And then I pass through, I do a bit of checking. So I just check to make sure I've got the correct formats. I also check to make sure that I'm not converting from OBJ to OBJ, for example, like that. And then I basically run the exporter here. So what the exporter is going to do, first thing, it needs to initialize Maya Standalone first. And then the next thing that must happen is we must import Maya commands as CMDS. If we try to do this at the beginning of the program, nothing will happen because Maya needs to be initialized before we can import this module. That's very important, and obviously it goes against standard practice in Python, where all the imports should be at the beginning of the script. It just simply will not work unless we initialize this first. Next, I'm loading the plugins. Again, at the moment, I'm just blanket loading all three plugins we need. So OBJ export, Maya USD export plugin, and the FBX Maya plugin. Again, by default, Maya Standalone has no plugins. When we fire up the Maya GUI, you'll notice that there's all sorts of plugins that are loaded. This is all read in, basically, we have our plugin manager here. Anything that's set to auto load is saved in the Maya startup script in your home directory, and they will automatically load. None of these get read when we're running Maya Standalone, so basically we have to explicitly have these here. So OBJ, USD, FBX. If we were going to modify this for other versions and other things, we would do the same. Next, I'm grabbing the current working directory. Then I change into the directory where I say the files to convert are. Then I grab all the files in that folder, loop through. If it ends with the extension that we want to convert, I create a new file. So basically this is creating a new scene so that we haven't got anything from previous working in there. I then import the file that I want to export. Printing out the name there for a bit of debug. I'll get rid of that now. Select everything in that file. Generate the name of the output file. So what I'm doing here is just extracting the extension off of it. Then I say if output is FBX or output is USD, then just run the export options. And again, the export options are a sort of bare minimum for what I need. Basically, all I want to do is run this to create some FBX and some USD files, which I'm then going to use for my database in a minute. So to run this, here's my folder with the test data. I've got my script in here, so I can just run converter. Minus input is OBJ, minus output is USD. This is the folder that I want to run it. It's going to fire up, get a few warnings about platform OpenGL context. That's to do with the plugins. You can see there it's just generated all of these, I should be able to go through, what's the wrong one, into Maya now, go, let's just create a new scene, don't save, and do a file import, and you can see all the different USD here, so let's just import the jug, and there's the jug I've imported as USD. That was converted from the OBJ first. I can run this again, and if I make the output, actually let's make the input USD, and let's make the output FBX like that, and again I should be able to import the USD files. I must say I haven't tested this yet, so it may not work. No, it didn't work. What have I done wrong there? Commands file, working directory. Nothing is currently selected, so that didn't work. Let's just try it with the OBJ and output as FBX. And see if that works, and maybe something within the USD import that I haven't quite got working yet. So we can see here, if I were now to go and open scene, sorry, not open scene, do an import there. Where am I? Import. You can see I've got the FBXs there now as well, so let's try something different from the FBX just to make sure it works. teapot.fbx, and there's a teapot. So it works. We've got some more data to play with. What I'm going to do now is format this data nicely, generate individual folders for each of them, and then start adding this to the version control. And then the next job is to create our database and start inserting this data to the database.